Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we are strapping in to analyze an intersection that is, it's so complex and so volatile. It really defines the modern financial frontier.
It really does. We're talking decentralized AI, DAI.
And the crypto tokens that power it. It's a space that's just full of conflict.
Completely. On one side, you have this incredibly serious, almost existential work being done on AI governance and ethics.
And on the other,
you have these assets that can shoot up, 17 times in value and then crash 91% just days later. It's high finance meeting high ethics head on.
And that collision is exactly what we're looking at in the sources we've pulled. So our mission for you is simple.
We want to unpack the AI token landscape as it exists now.
Then we use a very specific high-risk project, DeAgentAI, as a kind of live case study of that insane volatility.
And finally, we'll get into the really cutting-edge stuff governance frameworks like the Ethos model, which are being designed right now to manage truly autonomous AI.
So we're giving you the shortcut, not just to the financial risks, but to the profound architectural shifts happening just beneath all the hype.
Let's start there with the basics.
Yeah, we hear about tokens like RNDR, TAO, and VEFI all the time. But if you look past the price charts, what is the actual utility? What do they do?
Well, they're the economic engine for these decentralized ecosystems. Fundamentally, they do three things. They're used as payment for services, as collateral for staking to secure the network.
And the big one, governance.
Exactly. They are the instruments for governance. They're trying to build a whole new Web3 infrastructure, really, to compete with the gravitational pull of giants like Google and OpenAI.
But that's the key question, isn't it? If I can just get a ton of GPU power from AWS or Microsoft right now, why would I ever choose a decentralized network?
It's not about raw power, not yet anyway. It boils down to verifiable integrity and incentivization.
Okay, break that down.
Take an AI compute network like Render. Its token is RNDR. It runs on Ethereum and Solana, and it connects people who need a ton of GPU power with node operators who have spare capacity.
So it's like an Airbnb for GPUs.
That's a great way to put it. And the advantage is trust. They use a system called proof of render to validate the work. So, with mathematical certainty that the task was done correctly.
So it removes the middleman you have to trust?
Precisely. No single point of failure or data manipulation.
Okay, so that's compute. What about the intelligence itself, the actual models?
That's where you get projects like Bitensor with the TAO token. Bitensor frames intelligence as a kind of decentralized competition.
A competition?
Yeah. Miners compete to create the best, most valuable AI models. The network then rewards them with TAO tokens based on how much they contribute to the collective intelligence. It's an incentive to build open source AI, which is the complete opposite of big tech's closed proprietary approach.
And this ecosystem also includes things like data marketplaces, Ocean Protocol, and service platforms like SingularityNet.
Right. But the really big move this year was consolidation, the merger that created the Artificial Superintelligence Alliance.
The ASI Alliance. This was Fetch.ai, SingularityNet, and Ocean Protocol all coming together.
It was a landmark deal. And it wasn't just a simple business acquisition. It was a strategic, almost philosophical statement.
A pushback against centralization.
Exactly. The whole point was to accelerate decentralized AI and directly challenge the fact that a few dominant firms are concentrating all this computational intelligence.
So they pooled their tokens, FET, AGIX, Ocean, into one single token, ASI.
To create a single economic and governance structure, to finally have the scale to be a credible counterweight to Silicon Valley. It's an attempt to collectively own the means of cognition.
That's a powerful idea. Okay, so that's the grand vision. Now let's dive into the messy reality, the tokens that fund it all.
And for that, we have to talk about DeAgentAI. The token is AIA.
Our cautionary tale. This project just perfectly exemplifies the extreme risk in these assets.
The numbers are just staggering. In early November 2025, the AIA token surged 17.5 times. It went from about $1.60 to over $28.
In less than a day. The hype must have been off the charts.
Stratospheric. And then the floor just completely dropped out.
How bad was it?
In just 4 days after that peak, AIA crashed over 91% from its all-time high. The entire move was almost totally erased. Sentiment flipped instantly to extreme fear.
That's not a correction, that's a wipeout.
For the average person, it's total liquidation. It's panic.
So given that level of chaos, what is DeAgentAI actually building? What's the utility that's supposed to underpin this insane ride?
Their focus is on enabling verifiable autonomous AI agents, mainly on the Sui and BNB chains. They're trying to solve the three core challenges for any distributed agent.
Which are?
Identity, so it has a persistent self. Continuity, so it has memory and can adapt. And finally, consensus, so it can coordinate its actions across a network.
And how do these agents work?
Architecturally, it's a modular system. You've got the lobe, which is the agent's brain, the AI logic. Then you have memory, which is the persistent state, letting it learn. And finally, you have tools.
The things that let it interact with the real world.
Exactly. Connectors to DeFi protocols, Web3 platforms, you name it.
And critically, they have actual products running. This isn't just a white paper.
No, they have Alpha X, which is an AI prediction engine they claim has over 70% accuracy on BTC and ETH signals. They've also got Core AI, a no-code quant strategy builder, and TrueSights for data insights.
And the AIA token powers all of this.
It's the utility token for payments, staking, governance, and they have a mechanism to support the value.
The buyback and burn.
Right. It's a common model. A chunk of the project revenue is used to buy AIA tokens off the market and then destroy them, which reduces supply over time.
Okay, now here's the paradox you mentioned. This project survives a 91% crash, total market chaos.
Right.
And at the same time, the company behind it is deep in serious regulatory efforts. How do those two things exist at once?
It really shows the two different speeds of this industry. The entity behind DeAgentAI is preparing a full white paper for admission to trading under the EU's MiCA regulation.
MiCA. For our listeners, why is that so significant?
MiCA is the Markets in Crypto Assets regulation. It's the European Union's massive, sweeping framework for crypto. By aiming for MiCA compliance, they're signaling that they want legal clarity, trading legitimacy.
They're treating this not as just a speculative token, but as a regulated financial instrument.
Exactly. It's an attempt to separate their serious technical goals from the wild, short-term swings of the market.
Which brings us to the biggest challenge of all, something far more complex than market swings.
The governance question. How do we actually govern AI agents when they become fully autonomous? This is what Jeffrey Hinton was worried about, the rogue AI problem.
Right. It's a huge philosophical question. How do you regulate the character, the ethos of a piece of software?
And the sources we looked at propose a Web3 native solution for this. It's a framework called Ethos.
The Ethical Technology and Holistic Oversight System.
It's a decentralized governance model, DGov, designed specifically because centralized regulation just can't keep up with distributed adaptive AI.
So how does this ethos framework define an agent's ethos? What does it regulate?
It breaks it down into three components. First is rationality. The agent has to make logical, consistent decisions.
Okay, that makes sense.
Second is ethical grounding, and this is where it gets really interesting. It embeds actual ethical principles, both deontological, which is rule-based ethics.
Like never lie.
Right. And consequentialist ethics, which is outcome-based, prioritizing the greatest good.
Wait, let's pause there. What does it actually mean to embed both rule-based and outcome-based ethics into code?
It means the agent can't just be a blind rule follower. A purely rule-based agent might refuse to break a tiny rule even to save lives. Ethos requires both. The agent follows rules, but it's also programmed to prioritize positive outcomes when those rules conflict.
And the third part?
Goal alignment. You have to ensure that whatever the agent does, it ultimately aligns with the broader goals of the community that governs it.
So this is how you get from abstract philosophy to actual risk management, by classifying these agents.
Exactly. Ethos puts them into 4 risk tiers: unacceptable, high, moderate, and minimal. It's based on factors like the agent's autonomy, the complexity of its decisions, and its potential impact.
But what's really innovative here is how it's enforced. It's not just a set of rules on a page.
No, it's self-governing accountability. The framework uses tools like DAOs and smart contracts for transparent governance. They can automate enforcement, like triggering penalties if an agent misbehaves.
And I found the use of soul-bound tokens here really clever.
SBTs, yeah. They act as these non-transferable digital licenses.
Like a compliance badge?
Perfect analogy.
Right.
A badge that says this agent passed a bias audit or it's IHIPA compliant. And because it's an SBT, it can't be sold or faked if a smart contract detects a breach.
It can just revoke the badge?
Instantly. The agent loses its license to operate in that ecosystem. It's immediate systemic enforcement.
And what about privacy? If these AI models are proprietary, how do you verify their ethics without them having to reveal their secret sauce?
That's the perfect use case for zero-knowledge proofs, or ZKPs. A ZKP lets you prove a statement is true without revealing the data behind it.
So you can prove the AI passed a bias test.
Without ever seeing the proprietary code or the sensitive training data, it's trustless verification.
This all leads to the ultimate challenge, what the sources call decentralized justice. If an autonomous agent causes harm, who's liable?
Accountability needs a perfect record. Ethos says you have to use the blockchain to create an immutable audit trail for every single decision an agent makes.
The input data, the decision path, the output.
Everything. That gives you verifiable evidence for dispute resolution. And the framework also proposes things like mandatory insurance and new legal entities for AIs to manage liability.
So while that vision for governance is incredibly compelling, we have to talk about the friction points, the reality check.
Absolutely. We have to acknowledge why these tokens are still acting more like speculative assets than pure utility today.
So what are the main technical barriers holding decentralized AI back?
The biggest one is still performance and scalability. Public blockchains just aren't built for the kind of high-frequency, low-latency work that commercial AI needs. Centralized providers are still way ahead in raw computational power.
And then there's the trust issue. How do you even know the output from a distributed model is correct?
That's the verification dilemma. It is incredibly expensive and complex to verify a complex AI output without just doing the same computation all over again on another node.
Which adds cost and kills efficiency.
It completely undercuts the benefit.
And lastly, there's just the user experience. I can get an OpenAI API key in 5 minutes.
Right. But setting up a wallet, buying the right token, dealing with gas fees, many of these systems are still very crypto native.
It's a massive barrier to mainstream adoption.
A huge one, especially when you compare it to the slick, easy experience you get from a traditional cloud platform.
So let's bring this all together for the person trying to make sense of this market. You see the unbelievable financial volatility that's funding the whole sector.
But you've also seen the deep philosophical and technical work required to govern these potentially independent, autonomous systems.
It seems like the core issue is that the theoretical benefits of decentralization, like censorship resistance and transparency, haven't been strong enough to overcome the real-world barriers of complexity and performance.
Not yet. And that's why, as we saw with AIA, the tokens often end up functioning as these highly volatile, speculative instruments first and foremost.
So what needs to change architecturally for that to flip?
The whole space needs to focus on delivering differentiated value, things that centralized systems actually can't or won't do.
Like what?
Like privacy-preserving AI. Think of Ocean Protocol's compute-to-data model, where the algorithm comes to your data, so your data never has to leave your control, or genuine collective ownership of intelligence like Bitensor is trying to build. That's how you beat centralization.
Which leaves us with a final provocative thought for you to take away. The ultimate success of decentralized AI won't be measured by the peak price of its tokens.
Not at all. It'll be measured by its ability to deliver verifiable, privacy-preserving utility in critical areas where centralized systems just can't compete.
And when that happens, we stop being just data suppliers for their models. We transform into genuine stakeholders of cognition.